It's the return of the blue jumper. I am bulk filming videos today. I just went and got coffee. It could go well, it could be a shit show. I planned to change my jumper. But, you know, I'm by a radiator, I've got my cup of coffee. I cannot be bothered. I keep saying that a lot. Please know that I care a lot about making these videos and sharing my content with you. When I say I can't be bothered, it's just one of those vernacular things that just appears. I'm bothered very much. I am very much bothered about you. Not by you. Either way, today we're going to be looking at the cover designs I've created for An Heir to Murder, and then I will be sharing the final actual cover. I will be looking at the images on my computer and telling you just what I was thinking when I created this cover and how I came to have the cover I have today. So, basically, as we know from all of my covers, I design my own covers. It's cheaper, and whilst my covers aren't necessarily the best out there when it comes to indie writers, whilst I don't pay as much as other indie writers do, I try to keep them simple enough that they aren't horrible. And with An Heir to Murder, it's a cosy crime novel, and I couldn't really figure out what sort of direction I wanted to go in with this. I really liked MC Beaton's covers for the Agatha Raisin series, the small form ones that I had. I liked Agatha Christie's covers, the ones I shared before. I still like the editions that they're releasing now. I enjoyed Simon Brett's covers for the Feathering Mysteries, and I was seeing a lot of the same sort of thing coming from indie cozy crime writers. However, looking at our options, I'm beginning to understand just why our books look how they do. So firstly, we have this picture, which I will insert somewhere on this screen. And this is from a photograph I took of the floorboards in my bedroom. And what I do when I'm creating covers is that I manipulate the images all in Microsoft Word first as a draft. These aren't going to be the final covers. I'm just trying to figure out some ideas and seeing whether they would work. And this was the first one. And it's incredibly simple. I mean, awfully simple. What had happened was I'd looked at Anthony Horowitz, The Word is Murder series. I'd looked at a few of those more simple covers and thought that this was the design I'd go for. I messed with the image a bit of these floorboards and had a font on there, and it looked incredibly generic and really bad. And I was never a fan. I knew I hadn't got it immediately. And so then I decided to redo it. Now that one was on the 6th of May. And on the 8th of May, all I did was change the colour of the floorboards and add a picture of my dog. Now, the dog is there as a placeholder for another image that I spent ages scouring the internet for and I could not find. But he will appear in further covers down the line. This one I was going for an air of whimsy to highlight the fact that this is a cosy story. It isn't dark, it isn't gritty. If anything, there's more comedy than seriousness within here. And I thought the brightness did that, but then it did just look like floorboards. And it's like, what? Who wants floorboards on a cover? I still can't think what I was thinking at the time. I know I was just trying to placehold things and get ideas. I also had no plans for this book to come out at this point. So then we move on to the third draft of this, and I must have actually been really seriously considering this one because I actually saved this and emailed it to my friend Lindsay and I showed it around a lot. Once again, the cover has changed. It's a bit darker. There is now a blue hue to everything. I thought I was going to be releasing a blue book this year. I did release a blue book this year, Doris Ahoy. Links in the description to purchase, makes a great Christmas present. So yeah, we went a bit more blue with this one. There are blue highlights around the word murder, around my name, which is also a bit darker. And then I figured out that you could make images more transparent, which is what I chose to do with the image of my dog, in the hopes that it would look a certain type of way. That never worked. we're moving on to the 4th cover. Now, there are only 14 covers here to get through, so we're nearly there. Next one, once again, quite similar. I just changed the saturation in the blue. I think I also made the dog a bit bigger on that one. Any small change that I made, I'd recreate a new document for. So now we're getting onto the first draft that would stick around for quite a long while. So we're on to the 5th draft now, and this is where things kind of stuck. I realised that the floorboard picture could be manipulated in such a way that it would look like one long plank of wood, and so I did that, and I tried to cross-hatch them a bit in order to create this idea of the shed. Now, there is a very important shed in An Heir to Murder, and when you read it, you'll understand why it's important. As a whole, it becomes important to the series, but for now, I was glad that when people saw this, they also thought that it represented the shed from the story. The font, however, still isn't there. I never liked this font, but I wanted something different to Doris. And so, you know, just to show that it's a different genre, whilst it's set in the same world, the story is going to be different. It's a bit, whilst there's comedy in there, there are serious elements. I'm talking about death, for crying out loud. Grief comes into this book. I think Lindsay said with that one that she agreed that it was better, however, the font wasn't right. And also this was the point when Lindsay actually recommended that I change the title, and I put it into a box and sent me a link to the F. Scott Fitzgerald's books, where you've got a really nice pattern design and then the title is in its own box with the colour matching the fonts and all the colour matching the picture in some sort of way. This next one is clearly incomplete. It's our 6th draft and it didn't work out. It was too dark, and so I moved on immediately to the 7th, and this actually stuck around for a very long time. I mean that even into October, thinking that I might be releasing the book in November, I sent this image to Dane as well, because I thought, yeah, this was it. This was what my cover was going to be. And I just feel like nobody wanted to tell me that it was crap. This is one where I finished it and I thought, yeah, there we go. We have exactly what Lindsay told me to do. We have the cover. And I never liked it. I thought that it was simple enough. You know, it took a lot of work, but it was simple. But I just thought, that doesn't say it's a cozy crime. It looks like it's going to be a woodworking manual. However, we stuck with that theme for a long while yet, because even into the 8th that I've got, I went back and the planks became darker. But this one I think was just me testing out whether I liked the darker or the light more. Strangely enough, I only have a PDF of the 9th cover, which is the same as the 7th, so we don't have to worry about that. Then we go into 10. Oh, I hate this one. I hate it. Oh, I completely forgot this existed. So basically, when Dane edited my book, I thought, well, I'll share the cover with him and see what he thinks. He's an indie author as well. And Dane didn't like the text box on the cover. To be fair, it did look a bit like I was saying that I was an heir to murder. So I created this really, 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 really terrible, bad cover. Oh, let's just not talk about the fonts. Let's forget that one exists. Apparently, I didn't forget. This one is one when, during a fit of insomnia, I decided that I wanted... I think I'd seen another cover do something similar, where it was a matte cover and it had a shiny black spot at the top, and I was also messaging 8 Little Pages as recommended by quite a few of the indie authors on YouTube. Emma Rosenbooks got in touch, she recommended them as well. And I thought, well, if they got in touch and they were able to, then I would send this to them as a draft idea of what I was looking for. And I hate the font. It looks like some child just figured out how to use clip art. And it's just bad. I was searching through stock photo websites and everything. I spent about 4 hours searching for pictures, and that's the crap I came up with. Next, I actually didn't mind the font in this one. I don't know why I gave it the tagline, Valentine and Featherstone Mysteries, #1. I was trying to please loads of people at once, and by loads of people I mean 2. So I didn't want to feel as though I was denying Lindsay her text box, so I put Valentine and Featherstone Mysteries in there. I just don't think that the title, like the font suited the story, and the chair. I don't know what I was thinking really. At this point I was just throwing stock photo ideas around. Some of those images were originally for other book covers. And then finally, we come to what is going to be the actual cover. And this was one of those times where I stopped. I thought about how this wasn't working and hadn't been working since May. And, you know, it was a Sal's silk purse situation, really. And I went onto a stock photo website again. This was after I realised that I'd been a bit harsh with 8 Little Pages because I'd given them such a limited turnaround time for my cover. And I thought, well, make it simple. Most of these the story revolves around the fact that somebody's been murdered in his cottage. Alice has to move into a cottage where the murder hasn't happened, but something has happened there that's important to the story. And so I just searched for a picture of a cottage, and I saw it, and immediately I thought that could be on the cover. So I went back to a different font that was more simple. I decided to get rid of all this stuff of shadows and just have plain white text on the cover, which was just over this very slightly manipulated photo that I chose. I wanted not to look like an actual photograph because I don't care for the photograph covers myself. And so I just changed it a bit in Word because, as I say, this is a draft. And I sent it to Lindsay, and Lindsay agreed that sometimes simple is best. And people that I've shown it to think that actually, yeah, simple kind of works. So I am very glad to finally show you the cover to An Heir for Murder, because it means I can finally update my website. So, what do you think to the cover? Feel free to drag any of them through the hot coals in the comments below. I hope that you've enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.